When you're buying a house you're gonna live in, don't put more down payment down than you need. Hey guys, today we're gonna talk about why it makes sense to put a lower down payment and not a larger down payment on a house you're gonna live in, and how applying this easy tip can make you an extra $220 a month on a normal $300,000 house. If you're new to the channel, I'm Ariane and I retired with investment income at the age of 27, and I made this channel to help good people like you learn how to actually build true wealth and financial freedom. So, on to the video. So many people delay buying a house because they're trying to save up more money than they need, right? Most people, for some reason, recommend that you put down a 25% down payment on a house you buy to live in yourself, even though there are so many programs that actually let you buy a house from 0 to 5% down. I know we just bought a new primary house to move into while we build our dream house, ideally. And we could have bought like 7 of those houses in cash, but we put down a 5% down payment. So listen why. I'm going to talk about in this video why we did that. Now, that whole advice about putting down a 25% down payment is one of the multiple outdated financial advice that worked well 10 or 20 years ago but doesn't work well today. And you know what? Like, this financial advice usually comes from people who came from, 10, 20 years ago, and the interest rates were really high. They mean well with their advice, but it just doesn't apply a lot anymore today. The interest rates right now are still really low, and I know they are rising, but if you get a primary home loan, which is a loan you're gonna get for a house you live in, the rates are still right now between 3.3 to like 3.8%, right? That is pretty low. Compare that to what you could make in an investment. You could make 8 to 10% returns in a lot of investment vehicles. You could do that in the stock market. You can do that in real estate investing, which is what we focus on in this channel. And for a lot of you, you can actually make 20% or more returns in real estate and even 70% annual returns in real estate if you're in a high tax bracket because of the tax benefits. If you don't know how that happens, watch this video up here and in the description below to see how we actually calculate that 20 to 70% total annual return, because it's not just the one type of return that gets you 8 to 10%. If you add up the 4 ways you make money in real estate, you actually are making 20 to potentially 70%. But back to this topic. Let's draw it out, right? So let's say you could make a 10% return on your money. You choose between a 10% return, you make 10%, or you save 3.8%, right? Make 10% or save 3.8%. Which would you choose? Let's do the math here, right? 10%, like even if we account for the loss of what you could save, right? 10%, and let's round this up to 4%. 10% minus 4% equals 6%. So it would actually be better to choose the 10%, even if you have to pay a 3.8% interest rate, because you're actually making 6%. That is significant. So if you did not use the extra amount of money to put into your down payment, you could be making an extra 6% on your money. Now, a lot of people will say something like, well, I don't want to pay PMI, right? PMI is private mortgage insurance, something like that, that usually gets added to your loan costs if you have a lower down payment amount. But usually that amount is like 10%, I think. So if you really wanted to avoid PMI, you could just drop it down to 10%. But even if you put down 5%, the extra PMI usually is like $20 a month. So if you add that to your 3.8% rate, that might make your rate equivalent to like 4%, which again, that is already what we used for this sample I showed you, right? 10% minus 4% equals 6%. So you actually should choose the 10% option here. Let's actually put this into practice and let's look at the difference between the monthly payments on a $300,000 house at 3.8% interest, putting 25% down versus 5% down, right? So let's write it down. So this is a $300,000 house. The mortgage is going to be 3.8% interest, and we're comparing 5% down versus 25% down. So with a 5% down payment, their monthly principal and interest is $1,328 a month. With a 25% down payment, their monthly principal and interest is $1,048 a month. So there is a difference, right? But what's that difference? So what's 1,328 minus 1,480 equals, that's $280 a month. So this person is saving $280 a month, or $360 a year. They're saving that much money by putting down an extra 20%, right? Because this is 25 minus 5, they're putting down an extra 20%. And that 20% down payment is, on a $300K house, $60,000, right? So they're spending an extra $60,000 to save $280 a month. Now, what could they do instead? Like we talked about earlier, they could invest it in something that makes them a 10% annual return. So if you invest $60K at 10% annual return, they could be making $6K a year, right? Or $500 a month. So let's contrast that, right? Would you rather make $500 a month versus save $280 a month? So we can do the math. 500 minus 280 equals 220. So it's actually better to not put down the extra 20% down payment, or $60K, and make the extra $220 a month, right? So let's recap this. By not putting down 25% down, you would have an extra $60K to invest. That $60K gets you this $500 a month. Now, because you didn't put that extra down payment, you have to pay this $280 extra a month, right? But since you're making an extra $500 a month, you're actually positive $220, right? You are making $220 on this exchange. So you are $220 a month better off by not putting down 25% down and instead just putting down 5% down. Would you like an extra $220 a month just by not following the outdated financial advice? I would. So yes, you should do that. Don't put 25% down on a house you're gonna live in. Put the lowest amount you can. For most of you, that's gonna be somewhere between 0 and 5% down payment. And by the way, that $220 a month extra is just on the cash flow return. For those of you that delayed buying a house for the last 2 to 5 years because you were trying to save up this magical 25% down payment, guess what? you didn't just miss out on this $220 a month we were talking about. You lost out on hundreds of thousands of dollars. I know it hurts, but sometimes pain is what we need to use so things stick in our head and we change for the future. If you had bought a $300,000 house 5 years ago with 5% down instead of having to save for 25% down, that $300,000 house will likely be worth $500,000 today just because of the crazy inflation we've seen. So you saving for that 25% down payment cost you $200,000 plus the $220 a month we just talked about. I know, it hurts. It hurts. You can't change the past though. You can change the present and you can change the future. So I invite you, feel the hurt. I actually want you to feel that hurt and don't do it again. Stop following outdated financial advice. Please watch this other video I made on how people typically lose $500,000 by following this outdated financial advice of paying off your mortgage early. Yes, that is not great advice either. And also please watch this other video on why volatile assets can cost people $2 million in their lifetime. I do have other videos about actually making money, so check that out here and in the description below too. But I highlight this because it pains me when I see hardworking people like you hear all of this outdated financial advice from people who mean well but aren't where you want to be. They aren't financially free. They're not that much wealthier than you, especially comparing your age to them. Please listen to someone else. Listen to someone who has done what you want to do. And if you want to be wealthy, you want to be financially free, don't listen to the people who aren't. Stop letting society trick you into giving away your hard-earned money by listening to this outdated financial advice. Learn how to work smarter, not harder. Like, you can do it. We live at such an amazing time where there's so many free YouTube videos like this. There's so many free content online, and not even just the free stuff. There's actually a lot of great stuff that you can pay for. You can actually pay to work with some of the best and brightest people in the world because of the internet, right? Like, usually it would cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars to even have time with a multimillionaire, but I'm making this free video for you right now. Take advantage of this time. Use it to learn how the wealthy people think and use it to break the cycle of mediocrity and middle class for you and your family. You can become wealthy. Like, if I did it from being a broke immigrant to, being in tens and hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt and student loans to being a multimillionaire in my 20s, you can too. So, work smarter, not harder. Learn how to make your money work for you and stop just working for money. You need to learn all these strategies we're talking about because that's what's really gonna get you ahead, not working forever, right? You gotta make your money work for you. Anyway, subscribe to this channel if you like this video and click that notification bell so you can learn more tips like this. If you're on Instagram, follow me at @thearianlemire. I pretty much post investing tips there daily. We also have a free Facebook group called Faster Financial Freedom. And if you have more questions, you can ask any question in there. There's usually a lot of really helpful investors. I even get some of my video ideas from there. So please join us in that free Facebook group and in my Instagram. We have a Wealthy Weekly newsletter as well with lots of investing tips. And again, if you like this video, please click that like button and subscribe. And thank you again for watching. You have an amazing week and I will see you at the next video.